Alright, now it's time to rate the gym. Let's begin with the training area. So yeah, some good things about the training area is that you have a lot of weights. You don't have to walk a lot with the weights to do exercises, because the weights are quite close to the places where you have to do exercises. The training area is also not that big, so that's really makes it really easy to train with weights, because the weights aren't really that far away. You have a nice amount of dumbbells, and you have elastic bands, and also a weighted pull-up belt for weighted pull-ups. You can easily do weighted dips and also stretch, because there's also some stretching mats hanging there. You also have two different hangboards, like 4 different hangboards to be exact, but 2 different versions of the hangboards. So there's a lot, like there's enough hangboards for everyone to train your finger strength with, and also there's a lot of stuff lying around for balance exercises, which is also really, really nice. So now for the bad things about the training area here in Veldhoven is that not a lot of really heavy dumbbells are lying around. I think it only goes until like 16 kilograms or something, or 20 kilograms. I have been to some gyms where they have 30 kilogram dumbbells, or like up to 30 kilogram dumbbells. So I thought that, like, the amount of weighted dumbbells in this gym really wasn't a lot compared to those oldest gyms. And the training area is also quite small, so it can be quite hard to train if there's a lot of people climbing in the gym and also training in the training area on that specific time. And there's also a lot of people when there's like a lot of people in the gym. You also don't have a training board like a moon board or a kilter board, and you also don't have a campus board. So for me, it's going to be a 7.2 for the training area. I think the training area is quite solid, but it still misses some things, and it can also be a little bit bigger. Alright, now for the wood setting. So some good things about the wood setting is they use a lot of different holds. Grading is quite fair, and the boulders feel like the grades they were given. You also have some dynos, and they also sometimes organize a competition. Here, the climbs from the competition are also quite good, and are quite fun to climb as well, because there were like some competition climbs this session also in the gym still, and like the competition climbs were were like very nicely set, and also very nice to climb. I definitely felt that they put a lot of time and effort in the competition and making good boulders for the competition, which I think is just a really good thing to have when a gym really tries their best to have a really good competition in the gym, or organize a really good competition. The bad thing though is that some boulders are set with really weird beta. Like one of those boulders is the pink 6B plus boulder, which has these really big holds, but you have to do this really weird kind of like beta to do the boulder, which just didn't feel really that fun. Um, and some boulders are only climbable with specific length, like the red boulder that I did at the very end of the video, before the rating. That's this one right here. Yeah, that one was also quite length dependent, definitely on like the first move to like the weird like hold. And also the ending also felt like a little bit length dependent. There's also like not a lot of modern style bouldering. A lot of the boulders are quite crimpy, and the holds don't have a lot of chalk on them. They feel quite rough to the skin also. So when I climbed in this gym and I was like done climbing here, I really felt like my finger skin was just gone. Like, and it was mostly because there just wasn't like a lot of chalk on the holds. That like the holds felt quite a lot like sandpaper. But yeah, if you love clean holds, I guess you should go to this gym. Also, the grades on the cards in the gym are completely off by 1 or 2 grades. That was for me very confusing. I just used the grading that was on Toplogger because Toplogger has community grading, and the people usually just put the grades, what they think the boulder is on Toplogger. And like the cards in the gym just, didn't really felt like I could really trust those grading and grading. And I think definitely like compared to other gyms, like other gyms from Boulder don't have that problem. So I think that's a problem that they should resolve though. And just have like one specific grade they set and just make that a card for that specific boulder and just don't change the grade. I think that's much better than if you have a boulder and you downgrade it, but it's still a 7C plus, for example, in the gym, even though on Toplogger it's a 7C. I think that's just quite strange. So for me, the Routesetting is going to get a 6.5. I do really like the competition boulders, but I just don't really think that that like there's like a lot of new style bouldering, and the grading in the gym is quite confusing. So for the people that think that they maybe have done like a 7B or something, but it's like a 7A plus on Toplogger, it can feel a little bit like demotivating. So yeah. Alright, now it's time for friendliness slash sociality. A good thing about friendliness slash sociality in this gym is that the staff was really friendly, and there were some people climbing in the gym. Like the gym wasn't like super crowded, but it was also like not completely empty, or almost completely empty. And also there was like a little group of people that were also like cheering me on one boulder. They were also climbing with their parents, I think, and they were really, really nice. For the bad things in this gym, though, some people were open to talk, but there were also a lot of people with headphones in and people climbing here in groups. And there were also like a lot of people just climbing for a really short time, like maybe an hour, and then they were like gone. A lot of people found it strange that I also filmed in the gym. Some people in the gym also were like looking quite angry at me, even though I only filmed myself and just respected their privacy. I found this quite strange. For me, I think it didn't really felt like really welcoming. I think everyone should at least be able to film themselves. So I thought that was like quite strange. But for the rest, yeah, I think I'm going to rate it a 6 for sociality slash friendliness. The staff was really, really nice, and some of the people in the gym are also very, very nice. But yeah, I just really like it. Was like a really weird experience for me in this gym, this session. And also with a lot of other sessions as well. Alright, now for cleanness. Some good things about the cleanness. There's almost no black spots on the holds. Also the holds don't feel over chalked, and also feel quite clean. Also the changing rooms are really clean, and like the gym itself, like sitting places, the tables, they also feel like really clean. The only bad thing about cleanness is that the holds can use a little bit more chalk before they are set it, because they feel like sandpaper. And I think, yeah, that's basically, I think, the only thing that is quite bad with like the cleanness. So for me, it's going to be a 9.8. So I don't have a lot of bad things to say about the air quality, conditioning, and the ventilation. I think they can maybe place some ventilators like into the gym itself, but I think for the rest it's just like really solid. So I'm going to give the air quality, conditioning, and ventilation a 9.5 because I felt quite cool the whole time in the gym. The halls didn't feel greasy because they were just really, really clean. And even though it's quite a small place, I think it was quite like, cool in the gym. Even though it was quite hot also in the gym. So yeah, for me it's going to be a 9.5 for the air quality slash conditioning slash ventilation. Alright, now for safety slash safeness. So yeah, some good things about the safety slash safeness in this gym is the safety rules are really clear. You have a TV showing the safety rules like in all of the other gyms from Boulder. You also have safety instructions before going to the training area. You also have safety rules hanging on the walls in the entrance, and you have templates on places in the gym where they want you to follow the specific safety rule, which is also really, really nice. Kids training was held safely. Training was there the whole time. Some gyms trainers forget to do, and it's really like important that the trainer stays with the group so accidents don't happen. There's quite some gyms where the trainer didn't stay with the group, and there were like quite a lot of things that could have gone wrong. And unfortunately, with the amount of experience that I have with climbing in a lot of other gyms and the 10 years of climbing that I've done, I have seen quite some stuff that could have gone really, really wrong with kids training. But also with kids parties. So yeah, the only bad things is that they don't show the age of how old you have to be in bake. It's only on this like little template before you go to the training area on the door. I think they can like put it really like big on the door that you have to be 16 years old or older, because that's something that like that it's like on the template, but just really like small, like kids that are like under 16 are not going to read that. And like there isn't really like a lot of staff members in the gym that check if there are really young kids, to check that there isn't kids just going into the training area that are maybe not under 16, and I think that's like a little bit bad. And there's also kids parties. Can maybe use one trainer on the left side and one trainer on the right side, so you don't have kids on the other side where there is not a trainer. Because I saw that a little bit in this gym, that there was like two trainers like just on the right side, but there was also like kids climbing on the left side. I think it's always good to have like a trainer that's you know that stays with the group, but it's also good to have like a game plan, to say it this way, so you don't lose your eye on one kid, because that's usually where accidents can also happen. Even though this gym was quite empty and it doesn't really matter that much in this case, it's definitely in like the more crowded gyms that it's really important to have two trainers that keep an eye on those kids. So yeah, I think for the safety slash safeness, I'm going to give it a 9. I think they can maybe like, put the age of how old you have to be to go into the training area a little bit like bigger. And I think also, have like a really good solid plan when giving the training, like kids trainings, but also like, the kids parties, like having one on left, one on right. But yeah, for the rest, it's basically almost like completely safe in the gym. So our first review is by Thijs de Weert. He says, a more tinier gym than the other gyms, routesetting fine but not really diverse. Grading on paper is different in the gym than the community grading on Toplogger. I have to agree. Yeah, I think this guy is completely right, so I'm going to remove 1 point because it's only one problem. So our next review is by Guillermo Segara Soria. Damn, that's quite a hard name to speak out. I hope I pronounce your name correctly. But he says it's a really cool place, but the atmosphere is just like in a church. The staff is unfriendly. I do have to say that the atmosphere is indeed like a little bit not like in a church, but it's definitely like weird. Like it's not like a lot of other Boulder gyms I've been to. I do think that the staff was really friendly. Like the lady behind the counter was really friendly. Also talked quite a lot with me this session. But yeah, I do think that I'm going to remove 1 point for this because I think the people climbing in the gym were like a little bit like there were like some really friendly people in the gym, but there were also some people just like closing themselves from the people in the gym, just like having headphones in and just like looking quite angry at me for no reason at all because I filmed. There were also like a lot of climbers just like trying to keep the distance from the other climbers. Like there was like a lot of distance between one group of climbers and the other group of climbers. So that's why I'm going to remove 1 point for this one because I think he's kind of like right with like the atmosphere in the gym. But alright. So now for our last Google review. Cool place but not really a lot of hard boulders. The grading is quite soft, wouldn't recommend also climbing here regularly. For the rest, it's a beautiful place that you must have seen. I think the grading in this gym, like I think it's quite accurate to like the grades that the boulders were given. I wouldn't say that the boulders aren't really like super hard or like that there's like really high grades because there's like quite a lot of pretty hard boulders. Like there's some 7Bs that you can definitely like project a little bit on, and there's also a few 7Cs in the gym that are projects from like the one of the route setters and like the really strong people climbing in the gym. So there's definitely like quite a lot of pretty hard boulders, but I can definitely like see why he said this because I think definitely like after a few sessions you're quite getting done with the gym because the route setting is not like super above standard like stuff that you wouldn't see in like a lot of other gyms. Like the boulders are quite I think like the same when you're going to look at like other boulder gyms. So I would say he's partially right because like I think definitely climbing here like a lot more sessions eventually you will have like the problem that you wouldn't really have like a lot of really hard boulders anymore, but it's just like this really like hard boulder you will eventually like work on and there's not really anything else, and I think that's what he wants to make clear here. So I would say we're gonna remove 1.5 points, but I'm just not going to agree with there's no hard boulders because the boulders are definitely like hard enough to definitely have you like being satisfied for a while. Um, Definitely also with 7Cs now getting set it sometimes through the year in the gym now. So yeah. So the total score is a 7.4. So yeah, I think this gym is really solid. I think it's just as good as Monk Eindhoven. I think Monk Eindhoven is a little bit better. But yeah, I think it's a really good gym for when you have climbed a lot of boulders in Monk Eindhoven to just like go to a other gym. It feels quite good because Monk Eindhoven does use quite a lot of the same holds when setting boulders. Even though for me it's not really a big problem, and I just really love Monk Eindhoven because I can climb quite hard there, and the boulders are set it quite nicely with like it's quite technical, but also quite new style. I do also feel like it's quite nice to also have a older gym that maybe like uses a lot of different holds that doesn't really have like super hard grades. Um, so yeah, I think it's good to have a gym like this. Um, so yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say, and I'll see you guys later.